Beardo Banjo.
Hello there everyone and welcome to another episode of Will It VR. I wasn't actually planning on making another VR video today, but a commenter on one of my videos suggested that I play Maneater and see if I can get that to run in VR. Now I've already been playing Maneater a lot. I wasn't planning on making any videos about it. It's just kind of my chill out game. It's very simplistic, it's very fun. It feels like a proper throwback game to an era where people just made games about running around smashing stuff, and that was fine. And it is fine, it's a great fun game, but there's not a lot of substance to it. What I've had to do, if you know Vorpx, is I've had to create a new profile using Conarium. It tends to be a great Unreal Engine 4 profile that can kind of be applied to other games that run on Unreal Engine 4. And I've managed to get it to work with Maneater, supporting geometry 3D, which is really impressive in the game. Obviously you won't see it fully on here. Yeah, it works great 3D, it's very stable, and it looks really nice with the 3D effect running. Now we'll be playing it in cinema mode, purely because the full VR mode, again, when you move your head, it acts as the right stick on a controller, so you're directing where the shark's going. You're not fully detached from the shark, which is a shame, because that would be nice to be able to look around the water and leave the shark sitting in front of you, but sadly that's not how it works. So we'll be using it in cinema mode. But when you are in there, in cinema mode, the 3D is very, very impressive. I'm not going to waste much more time. I'm going to dive in and kind of show you some gameplay now. If you haven't seen the game, please enjoy, because it is an absolute blast. It's very simplistic. It is the kind of game where you just turn your brain off and enjoy. And I'm kind of in the mood for that at the moment. A bit of a summer blockbuster in terms of a game, I guess. Okay, so here I am in the virtual cinema playing my Maneater. Now what you obviously can't see is the 3D and the depth of what I'm getting here. Now I have played around with the settings a fair amount. Now I have 3D strength and scale pumped all the way up to 5, which is pretty extreme, but the effect it gives is fantastic. You can drop that right back down to kind of 1 or none, so at that point 0 is a flat screen, and they recommend that 1 is where you should stay. And the effect on 1 for this is fine, yeah, great, really good, but I want a really kind of intense 3D experience here, so I've pumped it all the way up to 5, just to see kind of what that's like. Geometry works. The most obvious bit here is the tree up there behind the kind of menu. The chap that's doing a bit of kite flying, he's very kind of popping out the water. Really, really impressive geometry 3D. Now it does also support DirectVR scan. When I tried that, it disabled my controller. I could no longer use the controller, which was a bit of a shame. And yeah, you can obviously switch between full VR mode, but as I say, it's stuck to your face. It's not a great way of playing it. Immersive screen mode, which is really good, but cinema mode is my favourite. You will just notice that I got some glitches there on immersive screen mode as well. Kind of some lines moving across the screen. There we go, just popping in now. I'm not sure what's causing that, but cinema mode is the best way to play, and you do get the 3D.
The third iteration of
Right,
P1 famously collapsed.
here I am.
It received historic landmark
So,
recognition.
it genuinely is very impressive, because there's a lot going on in this game, and the geometry 3D is doing a fantastic job of kind of creating depth and creating scale and putting all of these items exactly where they should be in the world. The cinema screen mode as well, I've come to realise really, is the best way to experience third-person titles. If you start pushing them into full VR mode, you can get some pretty cool results, but this is a nicer way to play it, especially when you've got the level of 3D that I've got here. It feels like I'm looking into a fish tank, and it's just going in. It's really, really impressive. Here we go, out in the open sea. I'm about level 20 now. I've played a fair amount of this game. As I say, it's very nice to just kick back and play. Eating a lot of kind of creatures that I actually really like, which is a little bit sad. There's seals in it now, and I have to eat the seals, and I always feel bad. I honestly cannot emphasize enough how great this looks in the kind of 3D depth that I'm getting out of it currently. Come back here, you stupid shark. I'm the only shark around here. Where have you gone? This is what happens. You pick on me, you're gonna get eaten. Oh, where have you gone? Come here. Yeah, look, why did you even pick that fight? You knew you were gonna lose. Yeah, it's a beautiful game to play in VR and in 3D. The shark is obviously front and center always, and the 3D on it is fantastic. It just gives everything else that great level of depth. Ooh, why are you picking on me? Again, I'm much bigger than you, and I will absolutely mess you up. There you go, you've been eaten. Was it worth it? Right, let's go above water, and I'll kind of tell you about what that looks like. It's gorgeous. Underwater games in VR look great anyway. They kind of always have a really nice aesthetic that works really well in VR. But this is beautiful. All the waves on the ocean have kind of got a nice 3D. His kind of back tail fin is really close to me, whereas the front fin is just about the right distance. The boats off in the distance look like they're in the right place. And when you jump like that, you really get a sense of how well the 3D's working. One thing I will say is I've dropped the game down to high settings rather than highest. I've got a pretty chunky PC. I've got an RTX 2080, i7. It's a decent enough PC. It runs pretty much everything. This on highest with the 3D and Vorpx and everything was kicking my fans off something chronic. It was really demanding. So I've dropped it down to high rather than highest, and the game still looks stunning. And I'm managing to keep the fans and the kind of the heat of my PC down to a minimum. Oh, come here, you! Yeah, really nice. I think this is kind of an asset or a facet of Vorpx that I hadn't really played around with much, and I'm starting to muck around with a lot more now. This cinema mode is hugely underrated because it really does look like it does. The best way to describe it is how I did earlier. It looks like I'm looking into a fish tank because you've got all the depth. You know, I can see those weeds and where they are. Everything in the distance, the little particles that are flying around, they're all at the right distance. But I get to sit in this kind of comfortable cinema screen environment. It's a lovely way to play this game, especially a game like this where you just kind of can turn your brain off and get stuck in. If you want to experience this game kind of in its entirety in 3D, this is an exceptionally comfortable, enjoyable way to do so. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I think this makes the game better. Often a lot of these Vorpx videos that I do are great ways to look at a game, and it's kind of fun for a quick, like, oh, that was interesting. I think this makes the game better. More immersive, and it's quite a simplistic game anyway, so adding this kind of level of depth to it just takes it to another level. Come here. These swordfish are, like, absolutely unrelenting. Where's he gone? Oh, there he is. Just starting on me all the time. The game itself, if you haven't played it, it's super simple. It's an open world game where you play as a shark. You start as a pup, as a baby shark, and then the more you kind of eat and the more you do, the more you level up, and you kind of get all these funky evolutions, so I can kind of create electric blasts and things like that now. The game is super simple, but it's very fun. It really is a kind of turn your brain off and enjoy title. It reminds me a lot of kind of Destroy All Humans, titles from that kind of era, Destroy All Humans, Stubbs the Zombie, things like that. Isn't a bad thing at all. Very enjoyable. And it's got kind of a loose RPG story mechanic as well. Looks a bit like, yeah, so a slight kind of issue, I guess. The 3D here, this kind of seaweed, this plant life on the bottom of the sea here, it looks like it's floating. It doesn't look like it's attached to the bottom of the sea. Yeah, it looks like there's a gap underneath it, when in fact that is the bottom. Very minimal though. And it's just due to the way that Geometry 3D is trying to render that object as its own fully fleshed out 3D thing. But yeah, Conarium is my go-to profile when a game doesn't already have one available in Vorpx. Sometimes you need to tinker around with it a little bit to get it to work properly. Some people have said Get Even is another good profile. It's another Unreal Engine 4 game. But you can use those profiles and you can copy them and create new profiles with them. I will put a little video, a little clip at the very end of this video, just showing you what I've done to create the Conarium profile to get this to work. So the map elements and the HUD elements, all this kind of stuff is completely flat. There is no 3D element here. Where's people I can kill? There's some people I can kill. Let's go get them. Oh, there's people here actually as well. Let's eat this person off his boat. You can have some real great like Jaws moments in this game. That person's really hard. Oh, he's going to die. Yeah, look, proper Jaws moments. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. It's exactly what I needed. I've been playing a lot of kind of full time-consuming games, and that are great. But this is just a really nice kind of palate cleanser. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for games like this anyway, that kind of just allow you to just be silly and just kind of have fun, just let off some steam. Plus I like sharks. Sharks are great. There we go. Right, and you can just literally flop around eating people. Look at this. Oh, nom 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 nom. Wait, why are you running? You're not going to get away, are you? This guy's oblivious. And then if you get enough, it's a little bit like GTA, these hunters will come after you. And they'll try and hunt you. So there you go, like I've hit a point where hunters are coming for me now. These more humans. How many more do I need to eat? Oh, I'm suffocating. Get back in the sea. So these guys are hunters now, so they'll start shooting at me and you can like dodge like that. It just looks amazing. And you just eat them. You just eat them. Because why wouldn't you? Obviously the dodge doesn't always look like mine does at the moment, because I've got the electric equipped, which is really nice. Also, it's narrated, and I forget the actor's name.
During Port Clovis's early days, city fathers touted its natural beauty, but the shrimpers and oystermen who docked there were only interested in its many horrors.
Fantastic. It's narrated by the gentleman, the actor who does the voice of Jerry from Rick and Morty, which is an absolutely fantastic added bonus. Yeah, this is Maneater running in fantastic geometry 3D using Vorpx. It looks fantastic. It really does. A brilliant way to experience this game. I'd probably say that this, in the cinema mode, is the best way to experience it. Immersive screen has some visual glitching, and full VR is just not playable. It's stuck right to your face, and you are glued to the backside of the shark, so you can't really take in the world. This is the best way to play it, and it is a joy, and it works fantastically. Before I sign off, I will just very quickly show you how I got it set up on Vorpx. Okay, so here in the Vorpx configuration menu, you access this by coming down when Vorpx is running. It'll be down in your start menu. You won't even notice it. You'll open up Vorpx and it'll go down into your start menu, basically. Go into there, open up your Vorpx configuration menu. Now in here, if you basically want to create a profile for a game that doesn't have one already, you do need to find out what engine that game runs on. Now, Unreal Engine 4, as I said, the best profiles really are Conarium and Get Even. They're the two that people use quite a lot. I used Conarium for this. So once you're in here and you've got a game that doesn't have a profile that you want to attach it to, click on Local Profiles. And in here, you've got all the existing profiles. Now, for me, for Manhunter, all I needed to do was to search Conarium. There it is, comes up at the end. And basically create a new profile based on this one. When you click that, Vorpx will ask you what you want to call it. So you would just call it Maneater. Now, it won't let me do it. I've already built it. But you call it Maneater, and then you just tick these. So if we can keep direct VR scan settings, it will. And if we can keep special shader definitions, it will. Once you've done that, your profile will appear. So there you go, it will appear in your game profiles under local profiles. And here you just need to tell Vorpx what it's attaching to. Now for Maneater, I clicked add. And then here, when I went to the Maneater exe file and clicked that, it didn't work. For some reason, Vorpx wasn't attaching to that exe. It actually attaches to a file called Maneater-win64-shipping. So I created a blank text document, named it that, and then told Vorpx to attach to that. And then basically that bypasses it. Vorpx does the rest of the work. It tries to attach to the text file. And because the text file is called the same thing as what it's actually attaching to, or what it actually needs to attach to, it bypasses it. I couldn't actually find that file on my PC anywhere. The only file I could find for Maneater was just called maneater.exe. So I couldn't find that file. If you can find that file, then that's what you need to tell Vorpx to attach to. If you can't find that file, build a blank text document called exactly that and tell Vorpx to attach to that, because then it will bypass and it will end up attaching to the right thing, and you'll get the full 3D geometry profile that I've just managed. But I will make this public. I'll upload it. So if you go to Cloud Profiles and search Maneater, very soon, probably by the time this video's out, my profile will be sitting there. Hopefully you enjoyed, guys. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate all engagement, all feedback, and just everything you guys do for me. I really enjoy making this content, and I will continue to do so until the end of time. I'll see you soon for another one, guys. Take care of yourselves. See you later.